Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today for Wednesday morning, January 20th, 2021. I'm the man they call Meathead, and now back to our semi-normal schedule. We're going to have Matthew Thomas. It's Wednesday morning. It's Matthew Thomas time. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning. Yeah, we're back. You still get 3 mornings of Matthew. 3 mornings of Matthew. That kind of rolls off the tongue.
3 mornings of Matthew. When every woman has already told you that one morning's enough.
We need to rename the show Mornings with Matthew and Meathead. Yeah, I forgot. It's an M there too.
Mornings with Meathead and Matthew.
Oh, yeah. There's something there. But
Mornings with Matthew and the Meathead.
It's 3 consecutive mornings like it was last week, except this week I'm more of the meat and the bottom bun of the sandwich this week.
So what am I, just the au jus?
Yeah. I mean, you do very well with it.
I am the meat-flavored juice in your morning.
I mean, what good would meat be without the meat juice?
Right, exactly. That's
the best part of the meat, or the meat milk, as I call it.
Oh, yeah, get a little lamb. Yeah. All right. Good morning. Welcome. It's PWR today for Wednesday morning. We got Matthew here talking about his meat and his juice. But let's talk about our manscaping and our collar and elbow. First off, manscaped.com will take care of you with a promo code PWR, and it'll save you 20%. Get on over to manscaped.com. Get yourself silky smooth, like our man Dave Hero always says. And then our friends at collarandelbowbrand.com with the promo code PWR360. Buenos Hermanos says he saw an Impact Wrestling last night. Again, Big LG wearing the shirt. Get on over to get it while it's hot. PWR360 saves you 10%. Matthew, before we get into the news, or before we get into the results from Impact last night and talk about what's coming up tonight on AEW Dynamite and NXT, you have a bit of an announcement for us. Again, folks that listen to this obviously know about the big show. It's technically gone. The Pro Wrestling Report, PWR Primetime with Shane Helms, with Al Snow, with Kevin Nash, with whoever we had on the program. The show is gone. And Damien has moved on. But Damien left behind a bit of a treasure. And it's the Nelson family fantasy team. But we can't have Matthew take over that team and keep it the Nelson family. Matthew, what is the name of your new fantasy team?
So, I like to think of it as Damien, he bequeathed this onto me.
Well, as long as you said B before queef.
Well, he technically didn't. It's basically there. This is kind of the equivalent, and this has happened to me before, where, somebody's having a fun night out and they leave a full or mostly full drink at the bar.
Oh, you're that guy.
And I take it. And that's kind of what's happened. This is the somewhat 3/4 of the way full, 3/4 of the way empty. No matter how whichever way you look at it, it's in the eye of the beholder. It's either 3/4 of the way full or 3/4 of the way empty. And I know that's a little spin on the old analogy, but that's the way I view it. And so this thing that's got fluid still left in it, that's just been abandoned. I'm taking it. I'm making it mine. And because I'm not somebody who's just going to take it and not, pay my dues to history and summon the great history that's come before me, taking this thing over, I've decided to give tribute to the departed owner of this team, if you will. And it took me a while, and I thought and I brainstormed, and I had all these notebooks where I had this could work, and across.
Did you take it to your MySpace and take it offline?
Yeah, I took it to MySpace.
No, MyFace.
Oh, MyFace. Oh yeah, took it to MyFace as well. And then I had one of those scales that you see in the court of law that the person, holds up, you see it at the courtroom, it's like the justice and whatnot. I had one of those, just trying to decide a team name. I went hunting for a name. I don't know if I've already said that yet. And came with this. This is the hybrid. This is the name going forward. It shall be known as Team Matt Damien.
Nice.
Yep,
say it again to yourself. Team Matt Damien.
I'm pretty excited. So this is the part of the program where you tell me who I get. Who's on Team Matt Damien? Because I don't know.
So that's a good point. And, while you were, waxing poetic, I brought up the roster.
Ah, fantastic. Let me have it.
What is on Team Matt Damien? Your number 1 overall pick, Cody Rhodes. You also have Seth Rollins, Sammy Guevara. You have Randy burned on the face Orton.
Yes, I like that. That was good thinking.
You picked up throughout the year. You have Otis. Yeah.
Okay.
You have the NXT heavyweight champion Finn Balor.
Okay. There we go.
You have the former AEW tag team champions FTR.
All right.
Okay. You also have the Usos and the current TNT champion Darby Allin.
Okay. I can work with that.
How do you feel about that team?
I'm in the middle there. There's some highs and lows and some pros and cons, and maybe some sleepers. I heard a few names on there that are one in particular that's kind of laying low right now, but is always a name to be tossed around this time of year. So now, granted, remind me of the rules. I can only replace if somebody's injured, correct?
Well, there's two types of replacements. There's the injury replacement, which would be a negative 25 points,
right,
either real or storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And the other replacement is if the talent no longer has a job. For example, when Brock Lesnar was officially not signed to WWE, he became a free agent, and Andrew Baydala was able to drop him with no penalty.
Interesting. So technically, looking at that, we've got an Uso that's injured, correct?
Correct. But you have both Usos. So when we drafted tag teams, you get both.
Interesting.
So you have Jey Uso, even though Jimmy is injured.
So how do we, my next question is, how do we treat a hiatus? Like when somebody goes over to be a daddy like Seth Rollins, how do we treat that?
That is not an injury.
Interesting. Not an injury, and he technically still has employment with the company.
Yes.
I think that's worth holding on to, but okay. Interesting. So number one pick was Cody, huh? Imagine that.
Damian at the first pay-per-view actually had negative points. He had negative points at the first pay-per-view. Now, in the first pay-per-view myself, the man they call Meathead had Asuka, who not only won the women's Money in the Bank, but also got a title win because that women's Money in the Bank briefcase was holding the women's championship.
You've had a wonderful, that was a wonderful pick on your part.
Yeah, so my philosophy, and again, not to bore you folks here, but my philosophy was to take tag teams because you got points for both.
Yeah.
So I had the Kabuki Warriors, who ended up being tag team champions. I had the AEW Dynamite tag team champions of Kenny Omega and Adam Page. I now have the AEW heavyweight champion.
Funny how that works out.
But Young Linda, for example, has the tag team of Miz and Morrison. And again, the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe gave Miz Money in the Bank cash-in points for the last pay-per-view. He's going to have to take them back because the Miz is still Mr. Money in the Bank.
So to use the money analogy, it was almost like a hold on your card or something, you know?
Right, exactly. You know, you reached your limit for withdrawals on the ATM machine, pun intended, because the M stands for machine.
I thought the M stood for Matthew.
No, not well, maybe in team Matt Damien. But... All right. Well, that's enough of that.
I just love to hear that name in my ears.
It's a great name. I thought you were going to go with Sloppy Seconds.
Yeah, no, that was strongly considered. It was fittingly enough, it took second place.
As of the last check, though, you are in 4th out of 5. So, like Jenny MacArthur on the league, can you take this donkey of a team to the championship?
So, like 4 out of 5. Like, if it's a movie that I'm reviewing and it gets 4 out of 5 stars, it's good.
No, you're 1 star out of 5 stars.
Oh, I see.
Okay, let's talk wrestling before we, bore people and they turn off this podcast here. Let's talk a little wrestling. Impact from last night, Matthew. Did you happen to catch any of it?
I caught a fair bit of the word on the action that happened.
Okay. Well, guess what happened? Not only was it the runoff I guess, would be the aftermath of Hard to Kill. And you said you had pay-per-view issues over the weekend. Something about, I think you told me you were trying to order the pay-per-view Too Hard to Drill. What was the name of that?
No, Phil. I ended up on the wrong network and ordered a little bit of Hard to Fill, which was a completely different show in general.
Didn't you notice that the pay-per-view was only $9.99, and like wrestling pay-per-views are $9.99? This isn't Impact in 2001.
I thought that was, but here's the thing. I know, TNA back in the TNA days,
right,
they had their weekly pay-per-views, and I thought they were going to a similar model. And also, too, that stuff on Impact Plus, you can buy those, I think, for $9.99. So, yeah, I was thoroughly entertained.
Okay, well, once you toweled yourself off and got Hard to Kill from Impact Wrestling, you said you ordered a pay-per-view. What did you think overall of the show first?
You know what? I really liked it. It was, and I went into it, with familiarity of the basic storylines. A lot of the undercard stuff, I wasn't 100% familiar with because I've gradually gotten back into Impact, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, they're working with what they've got there. You're still in an arena with no fans. Nice touch, though. You did have Stryker and D'Lo actually there.
Striker
in the arena, and
no chest protector.
No chest protector. And what was interesting about this pay-per-view, and Stryker pretty much told you at the opening bell, this was going to go appetizer to main course. This was the school of thought of pay-per-view booking, where you put your seemingly lowest match on the card on first and just gradually build throughout the course of the night, because the two prevailing thoughts seem to be either that you go in descending order, or basically you load at something, one of your semi-mains on first, something really strong in the middle.
Yeah, you go high, low, like interval on the treadmill.
Exactly. And so this was, traditional. We're going to start, we're going to open up with, the lower match on the card and work our way up. And for someone who is getting back into the product, which I think you had a lot of new eyes on it, that worked. That format worked. And I thought it was a great show. And more than anything, just the fact seeing that here we are in 2021, and we have what is yet another, hopefully, resurgence of Impact. And how many times have we said that? How many times?
Right, because they were hard to kill.
Yeah, have they seemingly been in not a good way, and they have managed to hang on? And, here I am buying another Impact pay-per-view. And maybe there was some nostalgia there. Maybe there was some, just overall happy for the promotion and the fact that we're getting to see something there that, we really haven't seen in a long time in the wrestling industry. And that is the buzz surrounding a cross-promotional program.
Mm-hmm. And, it's funny that you said that they were, hard to kill, and funny that you said that, a resurgence. Let's speed it right up to it, and let's talk about it. On Impact Wrestling last night, Matt Hady and Private Party showed up on Impact, and Matt Hady in his promo said, look, you guys should be thanking me. You should be on your knees thanking me, because in 2016, I literally put this company on my back with my brother and carried this place. And you know what? You guys are wearing, talking about Bueno Hermanos, the Good Brothers, you guys are wearing belts that I never actually lost. They stripped them off of me in some intergalactic, time warp sort of gimmick or something. I don't know. But he's not wrong. I mean, he was a tag team champion, and, he put his boys Private Party. Now, Private Party gets the shot at James Storm and Chris Sabin, because Alex Shelley's out right now. And the winner of that match was going to be the number one contender for the Good Brothers Impact Wrestling Tag Team Championships. Matthew, your thoughts on Matt Hady and Private Party coming on down to Impact?
I'm invested for the cross-promotional aspect of it, but here's what it does. Hady and Private Party are, their program is pretty much middle part of the card in AEW. And them going over to Impact, that really raises the bar for those guys. I mean, that's main event status because they're the ones jumping just like Omega's jumping. So basically you have a situation where you can immediately kind of raise the collateral on these people by this. So, I mean, we talk about how much Impact has gotten out of it, but this is an example of AEW getting something out of it as well, too, because they just made Hardy and Private Party bigger stars after last night.
They made them even bigger by the fact that the promotional considerations paid for by Tony Khan with Tony Schiavone also had Jerry Lynn. And it looked a little different because it wasn't in a studio against a green screen in a production studio. They were doing their segment live from the Impact Zone. And you've got Tony Khan and you've got Jerry Lynn, and Tony pulls out, you know what? I'm going to make sure I'm going to take my $100. I'm going to pay for my spot this week. I've even got Nesquiz's spot paid for too. Look, it's $100. What do you think, Jerry? I don't like that they didn't use the whole effing show, Jerry Lynn. I mean, but that's just me from ECW days. But the main event, the Good Brothers watching in the back, but it's James Storm and Chris Sabin taking on Private Party. Interference by Jerry Lynn, as he jumps the rail, holds one of the members of, I don't remember if it was Storm or Sabin. I think it was Sabin, but that was it. It's over. Yeah. Your number one contenders for Impact's Tag Team Championship are AEW wrestlers, Private Party. You're absolutely right. They took a team that was probably in the middle of the card, lower in the middle of the card, shot them to the top over at Impact Wrestling because they did this big deal.
100%. And I think that this is what I'm happy with here is that, you didn't think it was going to be, but this is confirmation that it's not a one and done deal after the Omega 6-man tag match.
Yep.
And I think that in a lot of ways, this interests me just as much, if not more, because you wonder what else it's going to lead to. And it's just kind of opened things. It's just, really opened up the possibilities of what they might do.
Yeah. So I've also thought, and there's talk that Taya Valkyrie may show up in the women's division in AEW because she was unofficially done with her contract at Impact Wrestling and she was walked out the door by police escort. There's a chance she could show up in AEW.
And that division, needs some love. I like what has happened with the NWA talent that's gone in there, but further concentration on that women's division, I think, is definitely a step in the right direction. And that's what
I need to know more about them, not just to have them have wrestling matches. I need to know more.
Yeah. No, you're right. In the presentation of it, I mean, it's traditionally presented in the middle of the card, and there's been some critique on the commentary as far as, some comments here or maybe how serious the commentary team is actually taking the women's division. JR had a horrible line some months back about, I think it was the AEW Heels promotion that they're currently doing. And it was a line of, do they have bake sales? Something in regards to that. And it got a little bit of attention, but it's just, there hasn't been that focus as a company on this women's division. And I think that's a course that can be corrected pretty quick, like the presentation course.
And not just quick, easy.
Yeah.
Just give them a little attention. That's all.
In the talent, that's a more gradual thing, but the presentation is something that can be done much, much quicker.
Yeah. Let's talk about AEW coming up for tonight. Let's talk about Dynamite. The one match that I found kind of interesting that was promoted on Impact was the three corners match. Triple. I forget how they worded it. It was 3 tag teams. All 3 tag teams are from the Inner Circle. Did you see this?
No, I missed this.
Yeah, so I mean, they're all from the Inner Circle. So it's like MJF and Wardlow, Jericho and Hager, and then Santana and Ortiz. It might be Hager and Sammy G. I don't remember, but it was amazing. I'm like, wow. So are they going to wrestle in this, 3 corners match to see who's the tag team that represents Inner Circle?
Yeah. No, I think they've really got something with Inner Circle. We've talked about on this program before. I think AEW is way too stable heavy, and they could, do much better by having some people that are just their own person and on their own. Hangman was that guy for a while before he started palling up with the Dark Order.
-1's birthday celebration as well.
Oh, fantastic. That is, I did not realize that was happening. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm absolutely excited to see it. So, and let's talk real quick about NXT. Tommaso Ciampa will battle Timothy Thatcher in the NXT Fight Pit. Your thoughts on how this is going to go? Because it's old school grappler Thatcher refusing to deviate from his stripped down style against Tommaso Ciampa, who is just brutal.
I like the concept of it, and I'm sure they're going to deliver. But when I hear Fight Pit, I think Raw Underground. Maybe Shane McMahon's going to be the special guest referee.
You get the Nitro girls in the cages and people around the ring in masks, not in masks. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And
yeah, here's the thing. I feel like Ciampa and then Gargano. Adam Cole.
Baby.
Yeah, he's a little bit different because of what they've got going on with the stable, but Gargano and Ciampa, I feel like it's work to find NXT things for those guys now. I mean,
well, you've got the way right now for Gargano,
which I like, but the Ciampa thing is, I feel like you're running out of a lot of options. This, I feel like in the old NXT formula, he would have been main roster a couple of years ago. And I know there's reports of him not wanting to leave NXT.
Ciampa and Gargano were a team on SmackDown for a little bit.
Yeah, for a small while. But I really feel like, especially with Ciampa now, you're in this weird spot where, all right, you're not going to be the champion for 4 straight years. We got to come up with something. And I feel like that's a consistent thing, with Ciampa, especially, this run since he's been back from injury.
All right. Well, that is it. We've got a lot of stuff coming up tonight. Tomorrow morning, we've got Matthew Thomas returning. We can break down a little bit more about Team Matt Damien, as we've got put out there as well.
I love
the name. Again, I love the name. I was still a fan of sloppy seconds, but I don't enjoy sloppy seconds in any other world but this world. So
the opinions of a man they call Meathead do not necessarily represent the opinions of the rest of PWR today, i.e. Matthew Thomas.
So Matthew Thomas loves some sloppy seconds.
That's just a disclaimer.
For Matthew Thomas on the man they call Meathead, hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.